For this assignment, we were asked to create a basic risk assessment for the community that we either protect and serve or that we wanted to do research on. So, one of the first things that we were asked to do is to just give a synopsis on on the concept of community risk reduction. So, community risk reduction is a community focused effort that gives employees all of the available risk reduction techniques. It integrates emergency response and prevention in one overall approach. When it's properly applied, community risk reduction coordinates emergency operations with the prevention and mitigation efforts internally with emergency response organizations. All right. So, what I have to say about this is for the community that I protect and serve, one of the CRR plans that I chose to implement was the installation of smoke detectors in homes. The reason why I chose to do that is because oftentimes I see or I go on calls where several people, they aren't knowledgeable about smoke detectors or fire extinguishers or basically the basic knowledge of fire prevention and the steps that they can take in home to prevent a fatality from happening or the total loss of their homes or anything like that. So I think the first step for me would be just to implement a plan to combat that. And I think that by implementing this plan that I have in place, which would be to install smoke detectors into the homes where they won't necessarily be. And I can't just say that this is a problem in the community that is of low income or that is just with the elderly, because I see it city or county wide where we have several people who they have smoke detectors in their homes but they don't necessarily work, or they have smoke detectors in their home but they don't know how they sound. They don't know what they're supposed to do in the event that the smoke detector goes off. So I think the biggest thing would be to first get my organization involved and just get them to see the importance of, if we get these people on board, then we could potentially save lives that way. We don't necessarily have to get called out in case of an emergency. We can catch the emergency before it even happens, or we can cut down on the total loss or lives lost, property lost. So I think that pushing that program of installing the smoke detectors would be very good for the community that we live in. And one of the other things that we were asked to do was to estimate the risk, what the risk is costing in the organization. So for my organization, we have a program in place called the Fire Safety Blitz. So we were given a grant of $100,000 to purchase smoke detectors. With these smoke detectors, we would go out and say a structure fire happens in an area. We would go from door to door asking people, hey, do you have a smoke detector in your home? Does it have batteries? Do you know how that smoke detector sounds? And that's just with $100,000. So with $100,000, we were able to purchase 10,000 smoke detectors. Now, if I take that 10,000 and I say, well, we ran, let's just say we ran a total of 500 structure fires from 2020 to the earlier parts of 2022. That obviously leaves us with not many smoke detectors available. So I think the biggest thing for us would be to just get the resources so that we can get this program and just continue to have it in the community. And I think that the biggest thing is just to get everybody involved. And if we can get everyone involved and get all hands on deck within the organization, I think that it would be a very great idea, because if we can save lives, if we can save property, that is essentially the biggest thing for us. That's all we want to do. So by doing that, I think that's only providing a positive outlook on the fire department, not only just the fire inspectors or fire prevention, but the fire department as a whole. Whereas people are used to seeing us in case of emergency, they can see us in, a positive light. They can see us creating change and being the change that we want to see. Not all the time do people want to see someone coming in their house because they lost everything, or because they had a kitchen fire that could have been prevented had they had a smoke detector. So I think that that's a very great way to combat just structure fires and small kitchen fires and anything like that.